Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, but most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So share. Now we do have Sleeping Warrior waiting in the wings. So how are you doing, Sleeping Warrior? Good to have you here.
I'm all right, man. A little bit less pain today, which I won't go into, but looking forward to getting back on track, to be honest, and talking about some things that are on topic. Yesterday was a bit of a troll fest, and I was surprised by how quick it went into a troll fest, to be honest. But hopefully today the trolls will be in bed because they're not 3, 4, 5 in the morning now. So we should have a nice, quiet, easy show, and it should all be nice and fine and dandy.
Can I explain maybe why we had a troll fest yesterday? Is that worth doing, do you think?
Depends on whether it gives them glory or whether it makes them look bad. If it makes them look bad, then yeah.
Well, I think it makes them look extremely bad. What they've essentially done is spent about a month trying to discredit you based on observation height that you have quoted from Google. And they've spent, like I say, about a month saying that you're lying, saying that your height is considerably in excess of 100 feet, and it isn't. The bottom line is 2 globe heads went back to the exact location. It slipped under our radar, admittedly. It was about a week ago that they actually published the information, and about 3 weeks ago, maybe more, that they actually went and acquired it, and then slowly dripped out the information till everyone got bored, and we didn't even notice it coming out because it was buried in an hour and a half, maybe hour and a half plus long video. So eventually, we had a globe head come on and point out that we had not seen this information. And we went, had a look, and what do you know? They measured a very specific part, not the observation position. They extrapolated that out by going further and further up the hill and making multiple measurements. But they did make one single measurement of a location at St. Bees and proved that Google is not wildly inaccurate as claimed. And they think or thought that it was necessary to get the viewer elevation up beyond 100 feet in order to bring back Morgold Lighthouse. In reality, the thing's 170 feet behind a wall of earth and about 600 feet beyond the curve. So it's never coming back. They'd need about 600 feet in elevation to bring this lighthouse back into actual reality, i.e. not being a holographic projection of something that is beyond the curve of the Earth. So they've had their last-ditch attempt to disprove that the height is as stated, and it is pretty much as stated. Doesn't make Google accurate, doesn't make the Earth a ball, it just means that the heights used weren't wildly inaccurate as claimed by the globe side, and this has been thoroughly put to bed with their own evidence, in spite of the fact that they've been insisting since Anthony went to confirm that this was complete bullshit, that we released the information to confirm their assertion that the heights quoted on Google are wildly inaccurate, and the bottom line is they aren't. That's the simple fact. It doesn't matter that they didn't actually measure the observation position. Any criticism of that can be squarely aimed at the globe heads who made the measurement. But what they did do was measure something about 200 yards further down the beach, which also has a measurement given by Google. And that measurement matches what they measured, within, I don't know, a foot or two, say. But ultimately speaking, what they measured tallied nicely with Google Earth. We've also had attempts from GeoStreber to come and show us that the reason this has happened in the first place is because Google quote a 30-metre discrepancy either way, plus or minus 30 metres at any given location. And because GeoStreber found a location in Germany that showed within a millimetre of a mouse stroke that you could see a discrepancy of 20 metres when he demonstrated it. Unfortunately, we've now had globeheads go to the actual location and show that within 200 yards of the observation position, Google's pretty much spot on, eliminating any doubt that Google's wildly inaccurate and we need to slap on an extra 100 feet on top of any observation position. It's nonsense. And yesterday we were trolled to all hell to stop us pointing this out, which we will continue to point out, just to rub it in their faces that they've lied, been deceitful, tried to mislead the audience, tried to allude to deception when nothing has been anything of the case. In reality, Anthony has gone to test a model, looked at the model, looked at the values it gives, and stated them. That's it. Those values may or may not be correct, and anybody is welcome to challenge the values stated by Google. What they in fact did was challenge Anthony, claimed he was a liar, claimed the heights were massively in excess of what was quoted, and that was in effect him lying about his observation heights. How are you doing, Inglorious Bastard?
His observation heights.
Can you pop yourself on mute, please?
How are you doing, Inglorious Bastard?
Got your
His
watch
observation
page.
heights.
Let's
Pop
just
yourself
give
on
you.
mute, please.
Try and listen to the beginning of the show where I say pop yourself on mute on the page you're watching before you join, because, you know, in the time it takes you to actually figure that out, there's a good chance you can kick my only guest. So watch page muted. If you're going to join, say a quick hello, confirm you're not a troll. So bottom line is we were trolled to all hell to stop pointing out to the audience that basically the Globeheads had been lying through their back teeth the entire time, trying to smear and discredit somebody completely unjustified. And that's what we pointed out. They didn't like it, so they came on to try and defend their lies, Gem Panda included, who specifically said that nobody had quoted the height of the quote-unquote cliff, it's not, it's just a mound of earth, as being over 100 feet. Later on in the same episode, he quoted Anthony as being at 108 feet at the higher elevation position, which is exactly the issue. We've seen it measured, Anthony's gone and measured it, I've watched it on Skype and on various different videos. I know the cliff is not in excess of 100 feet. It isn't. So to hear it makes me very frustrated, very angry. And, I may have some criticism for being frustrated and angry on these last few streams, but it does enrage me that these people can go out and smear to the length that they have based on a value given by something that claims to be their model of Earth. Not ours, we're testing it, we think it's flat. It's a nonsense to assert that it's a sphere. However, these people do assert that it's a sphere, and along this happy road that we have travelled, they have told us that Google is absolutely not a model of their Earth. They would prefer to use a hypothetical geoid that has no measurements attached, that is used to produce flat maps with a flattening factor. That's what they would prefer to use as their representation of Earth.
I need to call you out there, Nath, for misrepresenting what they want to do. What they want to do is use the Ordnance Survey map because it gives a much more... Hellboy, do you want to speak?
More. Hellboy, do you want to speak?
Hello.
You need to mute
Good
your
morning.
watch page when you join. Was it you last time?
Wasn't me last time.
Yeah, did you join a second ago?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, sorry. I kicked you because your page was
I
not
think-
muted, so we could hear feeding back. And rather than risking that you were just going to snipe us, I kicked you. So fortunately, you've got a second account. I'm not going to kick you again. You haven't sworn. Good to have you here, Hellboy.
Wow,
Thank you for
dude,
being here.
You sound so much happier today.
Me?
I like
Well,
that.
I think yesterday was quite a good day for showing the true colours of certain people. But just to finish off what I was saying, they want to use the Ordnance Survey map. Even though it's got a much more favourable height, it's a flat map because by definition, when we looked it up, it uses the curved values, but then backwards calculates them to make them flat. Yeah, that's the map that they want to use because it benefits their argument to do so, regardless of whether it's accurate or not. Now, we've measured it, and we're happy that the value given on Google Earth is accurate. So they've not measured it, yet claim that the Ordnance Survey map is some way the better version of. And I don't think that's a very honest position to take because my position is I'm not sure how high it is because I can see it on Google Earth. We've measured it, and you can measure it 5 times and you can get 5 similar results, but not one that's the same. And that's because of the slight human variation or the human error bit in measuring the angle. You can get the same hypotenuse, but 5 times you're going to get slightly different angles, and therefore you get slightly different values on the height. However, they're all comparable to what it says on Google Earth. So
That's a great thought, Riley. And I think that type of thinking is exactly what made you all go out and publish Seeing Island when it wasn't seen prematurely. So
Well, I
you
don't
need to
think-
take a step, you need to take a step back that because essentially you caused a lot of problems with this threesome of
No.
you, Nathan.
No.
Let him say his piece,
and
Anthony. Let him get it out.
That was all you, Riley. That was all you. That was all you.
That's not true.
You
It's not
made
me,
it
actually.
look like We were seeing fucking island.
No need to swear. Right. No, number one, Anthony was completely open to any suggestions throughout the debate. Would say things like, I'll give you that it's not Ireland. I'll give you that it's the Isle of Man. However, blah, 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 blah. So he was more than open to concede. Me, out on the other hand, I have had to eat quite a big slice of humble pie because I was led by the evidence that was presented to me. And that evidence suggested it being Ireland. I made that assertion and asked for it to be debunked. That's what I did. So when it was, I came out almost immediately and said I was wrong.
But it was that type of conversation which what led out to you guys going out and broadcasting, hey guys, we're seeing island.
Yeah, that's what
Before
the
you
model
guys
suggested,
had
and Google Earth. So as I just said,
right?
yeah,
Okay, so Hellboy.
You're
Am I right or
repeating
am I
yourself,
wrong?
so I'll repeat myself,
Am I
Hellboy.
right?
So there was models that have led us to these conclusions, two models specifically. One was a model of a 24,900 mile sphere with Isle of Man transposed onto the top of it. The other was Google Earth. These are the tools that we used to make those assertions. Now both models fail. Both. Google Earth fails by the admission of the globe heads. The 24,900 mile in circumference sphere fails specifically because of Morgort Lighthouse, which is the starting reference point for that model. So that will never
Do you not remember
change
the
in its
last
distance.
time I talked to you guys, right? When I wasn't being a dick. I was actually saying, guys, why don't you guys go out and actually really find out core proof, go out there again and figure it out. And you guys made a big secret about you guys doing it. You guys did do it, but you guys made it a big secret.
What's been made a secret?
And there was some reason why you guys wanted to make it a big ass big
What's
old
the
secret.
Sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Okay, here's the deal. What I'm talking about is this. You guys published Seeing Island way beforehand to the point where you guys weren't even sure that you saw Island. Why did you do that?
Okay, let me answer that one. I'll share my screen just for the benefit of you. So I don't think you're familiar with the history of this. I don't think you understand what's really going on. So if I share my screen, Nath, would you just present so it stays on screen?
Yeah.
All right, this is the first video, and this is the question. Ireland from England, question mark. The question mark means it's a question. It doesn't mean that it's a statement. It's a question. Explain this with evidence. And essentially, I show where I am in the thing. I show what it looks like. And then I show this floaty land that I was referring to. And in the video, this land is behind the curve of the Earth. It doesn't actually exist. It's supposed to have dropped behind the curve of the Earth. We should not see it. Do you understand what that means?
Okay, look, man.
No,
I get what you're saying. I get what you.
Stop. Hellboy,
you
you understand? Hellboy,
It took me 10
you
minutes.
understand that this land should be behind the curve of the Earth? Yes or no?
It took me 10 minutes to go onto Google, look at it, and figure out that that's just Isle of Man.
Oh, it took you 10 minutes, did it? Well,
10
it
minutes.
took us quite a long time to figure out that we were wrong and that it wasn't Ireland. And the evidence that we were being led by was spherical in nature. So, yes, we were wrong. We were led by Google Earth. You're saying that you're much smarter and you figured it out in 10 minutes.
No,
Well, did you
I wasn't- I'm not saying I'm
hold on,
smarter.
Hellboy. Hold
What
on,
I'm
there's
saying
a question
is,
at the
why
end.
did you guys go?
There's a question at the end of my sentence. So my question is as follows. Whether or not you want to listen to it is up to you. The question is, do you appreciate that none of what you can see should be seen because it is hidden behind Earth curve? Do you understand that? Yes or no, Hellboy?
Okay, do you not understand that if you go to Google Maps,
Answer the question.
you actually get
Hellboy,
a viewpoint, and
Do you
you
understand
actually
that it
take,
shouldn't be
like, you
seen,
sit there and hit
Hellboy?
the
Yes or
arrow
no?
button forward and just like move forward, you will see exactly what you guys are seeing.
What are
And
you
it
talking
would
about?
eventually become
Be a
Isle of
bit more
Man.
concise and clear about what you're saying. Move
Well,
forward.
that's exactly what I did in 10 minutes, and I figured it out, right? And I didn't
Well,
say
aren't you
shit.
smart? Have you also figured out, as a follow-up question, that all of the land that you saw should be behind the curve of the Earth by the geometrics of the Earth?
Okay. Nathan, now you're going to other areas that we're not talking
No,
about.
this is
we
specifically
are
the
talking
area.
about
This
it,
is the
Hellboy.
first
Can we-
video
can
ever
we stay
released.
with-
It says,
Can we
Ireland
stay
from
the
England,
conversation,
question mark.
please?
Explain this
Can we
with
please
evidence
take the
then.
conversation?
Do you understand that? Right, it's a question.
Essentially,
We've qualified
Now,
assertions.
here's the deal, right? What happened was this: when everybody said we're gonna leave this hangout, the next day, you guys went out and said, "Fuck it." If everyone, I'm sorry,
Can you
my
stop
bad,
swearing?
I swore.
How difficult is it to
You-
not
you guys-
swear?
I know it's hard because I'm passionate, but you guys said,
I'm
"Hell with it. We're gonna go out and try to broadcast our findings of seeing Island," and you guys did it way prematurely, way beyond you guys having enough proof, even within yourselves, to know it's Island.
Not at all.
Hellboy, you don't
We
seem to
presented
have answered my
failed
question.
models of the globe Earth. They still fail for all the same reasons. If we were led
Was it
to
the
the conclusion,
pressure? Was
you
it
seem
the
to be talking
pressure?
over me. I let you talk, right? We were led to the conclusion it was
but-
Ireland by spherical models. We have conceded we were wrong. What's your problem?
No, I mean, like, what my problem is this, right? Is that, like, why did you guys go out and try to tell everybody we're seeing Island when within yourselves you guys knew? It's
I'll say it
possibly not.
again for a third time. We were led by evidence. The evidence suggested we could see Ireland. We put this up to be challenged on a debate channel and literally said, debunk this claim. It was, and we conceded.
Yes, and Nathan, for the fourth time, I'm trying to tell you that everybody said it's not Island.
Yeah, nobody presented
But when
evidence.
everybody-
You
when
may have
everybody
gone.
said,
Nobody presented
we're not going
evidence.
to talk to you no more. What
See
you
the word
guys
at the
did
top of the screen
next
where it
day,
says explain this with evidence. What you have done is made
We're
an
gonna go
assertion
broadcast.
with no evidence. You've said you've gone to Google.
that was your downfall.
spent
That
10
was your
minutes.
downfall.
You said you went
That's
to Google.
what
You're just talking
caused
over me
all this
continually.
drama, bro.
You keep talking over
Hellboy,
me.
can I just ask you my question again, please? Could you just give me a yes or a no answer? The land that's here on screen right now is supposed to be behind the curvature of the Earth. Do you understand that? Yes or no?
That's Iceland.
It's the
Can
Isle
you
of
answer
Man.
yes or no?
You know it's the Isle of Man. You said you just spent 10 minutes on Google and figured it out for yourself. You didn't provide any evidence of it, like the Rumpus did, which is what we asked for. You just asserted it. Well, clever cogs, now do you understand that it's behind the curve of the Earth? Or do you need another 10
Look,
minutes on Google to figure that out?
Being behind the curve is the next thing you guys need to prove.
No,
Right?
fact.
So,
no, we don't need to prove it.
Look.
It's a fact.
Kid gloves.
It
I'm
is
putting
a
on
fact.
Kid gloves.
Oi,
I'm putting on
dickhead.
kid gloves with you guys. You guys don't
Dickhead,
understand
you
it.
not seem to be listening. It is a fact. A geometric fact. It's behind the curve of the Earth. That's not an assertion. It doesn't need to be proven. It is a fact. A geometric fact based on the bullshit globe you think you live on. Do you understand that? It's not our assertion that needs proof. It's a geometric fact.
Oakley, why do you have Metabunk on your screen right now?
Metabunk uses the curve calculator of your bullshit Earth to prove to idiots like you that you live on it. We're showing you with
So
your own
you
evidence.
use
We're showing
Metabunk?
you. Why have you just asked me a
You
question
can't
and now interrupting me while I answer you? You've asked me why Metabunk calculator's up, and now I'm telling you. The Metabunk calculator is up because it is utilised by idiots like yourself who think they live on a sphere. We are using your own tools against you to debunk that you live on a sphere, because by the virtue of your own maths, this lighthouse and the land should not be there. At the moment, we're trying to get you to concede this fact. You are struggling.
Oakley, look. At one point, did Rumpus ever use Metabunk?
I can't
his
honestly
findings
remember if
to
you
show
used
you.
this particular website or not. What's your point?
He did his own calculation.
Sorry, you're talking about Rumpus
Because-
now, someone who actually stepped up and provided evidence. Why are we now
Yes,
talking
I'm
about Rumpus?
I'm talking about.
We're asking
yes, I am
you
talking about Rumpus.
if you understand this concept.
And
Do
my
you understand
my
it?
deal is this. Listen, Oakley, my deal is this. At one point, did he use this shit? No, he did his own calculations.
Like you did and presented
Don't
when you did it in 10 minutes.
Don't rely
You
on
presented
the-
nothing. So
Don't rely on the
Rumpus has
website.
respect
Don't rely
for
on the
me.
website.
You have no respect for me.
He give
You're
you
a
a
moron.
calculation.
You're an idiot. You're a troll. So you don't get my respect.
not-
You get me asking a specific question 5 times. Do you understand that we shouldn't see this land?
Because it's Iceland?
No, it's the Isle of Man, something you figured out in 10 minutes, according to you. Why are you being a retard
Oh, I
and
thought-
claiming it's now Iceland? Did you not figure it
Oh.
out in 10 minutes?
Yeah, I did, but then I doubted
Right, so you know
myself,
what
and I was
land
like,
it is,
maybe
you
it's
stupid
Iceland.
moron? Do you understand that that land
Maybe
that you
if-
figured out is not visible on a sphere Earth?
On a sphere Earth.
Yeah, the Earth you think you live on.
Why? Answer this.
No,
Not
answer my
visible.
question. Do you understand that it shouldn't be
I
there?
say because of Metabunk?
Not because of
It's
Metabunk,
not
because
vis-
of... Try and open your ears. You're clearly either
Why?
deaf or
Then why?
stupid.
Why?
Because of
Okay,
the
why did you
spherity
say? Why
of
do you say
the
not visible on a
Earth.
sphere Earth? Why?
It has fixed dimensions, 24,900 miles. Those dimensions dictate what can and cannot be seen. Nothing to do with Metabunk. Absolutely everything to do with the mathematics of a sphere. The sphere you think you live on because you're a moron.
Yeah, I am absolutely a moron.
I know.
And
You are.
I'm a
So
hellboy.
do you
dude.
understand,
I'm obviously a
moron, that you shouldn't see this land?
Okay. So what is it? Is it Iceland?
So again, you seem to be having this retardation where you've told us you figured out it's the Isle of Man, and now you're trying to be clever and comical. No one's laughing. You're just making yourself seem like an idiot troll, which is precisely what you are. You can't concede
I'm
that
not.
you can't see this
The
stuff.
bottom line is this, right? Look,
Because it ruins your paradigm.
can see
Because
the
it ruins
exact
your bullshit fantasy that you
can-
live on a sphere. Your bullshit fantasy can't be admitted when it's wrong. You can't concede that you shouldn't see this land because it ruins your world. We understand it. It's pathetic.
Bailey and Oakley, please hold on. You see that exact same view, that same contour of fucking lines. You can see if you actually use Google Earth correctly. You can actually see that same contour that
No,
you're
you can't.
that you're showing right now above those screenshots on the screen.
Why
you
is
can
your
see that
voice
same
breaking?
contour.
Why are you sounding so
And yes,
nervous?
if you use the
Why is your voice
correct,
cracking?
if
Troll.
you use it correctly.
Why is your
you
voice
can-
crackling? Why is your
No,
voice
I'm not
sounding like
trolling.
you're very nervous?
You gotta-
You have this
okay.
stress
Okay,
in your throat.
okay,
I
you
can
gotta
hear
understand
it.
something.
I hear the
Part of me
stress in
that
your
tro-
throat,
There's
troll.
part of me that's real.
Why
There's
is
part
the
of me that
stress there
trolls,
in your
there's part
voice,
of me that's
troll?
real. This is the real.
Why is your voice crackling while you're talking to us? Why is it that you sound stressed?
I'm not stressed right now.
I can
at
hear it
all.
in your voice. The tone is there. I can detect it.
Brother. When I'm stressed,
I'm not your brother.
I sound stressed.
Do you understand that? I'm not
I'm
your
not
brother.
stressed.
I'm not your brother. I'm not your sister. I'm not your father. I'm a guy asking you if you understand whether or not you can see this land on your model and whether you comprehend that. You don't seem to want to give me an
Well,
answer. You're just sounding more and more
Brother,
distressed.
Can you please understand? I'm not stressed right now.
Oh,
I have nothing to be
right
stressed
now.
about. What do I
You
gotta
sound
lose?
distressed because I'm putting
I
you
got
in a
nothing to
corner.
lose in this
Corner you
conversation.
don't want to be put in.
I got nothing to lose in this conversation. I'm a fucking troll. I usually come on your chat like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you're just swearing continually because you're under pressure. That's what people do. They swear when they're under pressure. Pathetic.
So, I think Hellboy was failing to realise, and he wouldn't commit to the point that this land shouldn't be there, and that's why I asked the question, because I know my geography, and I know what should and shouldn't be there according to the shape of the Earth. The fact of the matter is, there is substantial land here, not just the tippy tops of mountains, little tiny bits visible where if you find the right elevation, you could claim, well, we need 280 feet, 290 feet to see the very tippy tops of these things. And we're getting like 100, less than 100. We're getting like, there you go. There's 200, there's 200 and summit there, 200 and whatever. Point is, if this land represented that which we can find the odd little peak to, it would look like a little triangle up here somewhere, because that would be one of the peaks, and then maybe another little triangle where you find another one, and it would be sat on the horizon, and we don't see that. We see a big chunk of land that's significant, and it's at such a low elevation. Now the elevation was actually 35 feet, so when you put 35 feet in, you've then got to do a little bit of an adjustment for the tide. So we went with 52, and that just so happens to be the elevation of the second cliff. But it doesn't really make that much difference because all of this land is still behind the curve of the Earth. So I know Hellboy doesn't understand it, and I know Jeremy has got Jeremy's tied himself in knots over this because he doesn't understand the fundamental point at hand. We're asking, why is this land visible? And what is the land? Because you can see it appears to be floating. Now, there is no science on flat Earth, as far as I'm aware, that explains why land would appear to be floating. Now, yeah, there is this thing called refraction, but according to science, it's the bending of light following 7/6 of the radius of the Earth, and in the right conditions, you can see your own arse in a telescope. That's what refraction is. By science, this is unexplained because this is not refraction, because this is not the bending of light around the curvature of the Earth. But we have land here, significant land, and it's way behind the curve of the Earth. So the issue is, what is the land? Is the land Isle of Man? If it is, the elevations are hugely wrong. Or is it somewhere else in the background? That's why I asked, was it Ireland? Because this land is it's not comparable with the Isle of Man. Now, I know that Hellboy took 5 minutes to work out that it was the Isle of Man, but because he didn't critically analyze that which he was looking at on the thing. Yo, because Hellboy doesn't think critically, he doesn't realize that the elevation of this land that is evidenced on screen right now sits at ridiculously low levels. I mean, we're only looking at, there's the little stitch of land that's in the corner, which is there, and that's that bit that's there. So we're looking, there's that bit. So we're looking at the stuff that's immediately to the right of it on this line of sight. So wherever this goes, the Hill of Brides, yeah, the Hill of Brides may well be there. I'm happy, personally, that this bit may well be Isle of Man. But I'm not happy that this bit is. But I can't prove it's not. Because this land, according to the evidence, this land that's here sits at the same elevation, the same height as this land here. But in real world, it doesn't. There is no land here to match this. And you have still land over here, which, yeah, sure, you could go out and argue, well, that's still the Isle of Man because you're just looking over here somewhere. But there's still land that's got significant height and elevation to it. And that land is all sitting at an elevation of around about 25 feet. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I asked the question, what is the land? Is it Ireland? Because it makes no sense on the Isle of Man. It's nonsense. It's supposed to be behind the curve of the Earth. This is why Jeremy doesn't like it. Jeremy took a position that I was in some way lying, even though in the video it clearly shows where I was. Jeremy doesn't like it. Jeremy thinks in some way that I'm lying about my position. But he's referring to the lie on the composite video, the addendum video, which we used the composite to try and establish what the scale was and what items and landmarks we could see. So for a long period of time, we did discuss the composite, and the purpose of it was to establish the facts. So, but the point remains, this land is still here. On the evidence, Isle of Man should stop here. On the curvature of the Earth, it does stop there. But in real world, the land that's here, if you're going to argue that it's the Isle of Man, you also have to accept that the Earth is flat. It's that simple. You can't have it both ways. If this is Isle of Man, the Earth's flat. If it's not the Isle of Man, then there's some explaining to do. Could be Ireland, or it could be, I don't know how else it could be explained. But there is no explanation on the curved Earth model to explain how this could be the Isle of Man, because you need a hell of a lot of refraction. And there's no evidence of non-standard refraction. We see a little bit of band underneath that makes it float, and that's as far as it goes. You can see the limit of refraction, and your limit of refraction is 7/6 of the radius of the Earth. And given that you don't have any evidence to support anything further than that, and you would never get any evidence, because to get non-standard refraction evidence, you need interval evidences all the way across there, showing the pressure, the temperature, the humidity, the density of the gas law. You need all the way across there to create to give you the data, to plot it in, and then give you the result. It's never going to happen. You're never going to be able to prove non-standard refraction, even if it is a thing, because you've got to have the interval data all the way across that 30-mile distance. It's never going to happen, ever.
So I hope you're enjoying the debate thus far. We've got about hour and a half left on this live stream. If you'd like to join the debate, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat and a link in the info box below the video once it is rendered. Please share the show, as sharing increases the live audience, which in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is about an hour and a half left on this broadcast. I kicked the guy that joined. Did he manage to boot you?
No.
Yeah, that really frustrates me. You do a little link, and the second I start, hello, Flat Earth
Yo,
Destroyed, how you
bitches.
doing?
Stop blocking me, Oakley, you big wimp.
Well, just join at a time when I can say hello to you.
Triggered wimp. You big triggered wimp.
Why are you insulting me the
so
second you
my
join?
usual question. Shut up, moron. My usual question. Riley, when you threw that tape down the cliff and you said it didn't hit the bottom, you've now changed your story. Shut up, Oakley. You've now changed your story to say it did hit the bottom. You are a liar. You said talking to Gem Panda yesterday when you threw that you're at the highest point of the cliff. You didn't say this before. You're lying again. You've been destroyed by Rumpus. You've been destroyed by Gem Panda. Miles Davis destroyed you. Mark Taylor destroyed you. Sly destroyed you. Geo destroyed you. The only person that believes you or hopes you're correct is Oakley. Ranty's disappeared. Why? Because he knows. You're all on your own.
Ranty's got
So all
flu.
you need to do is pull your head out of your arse and admit that you've lied. And then we can all get on with our life, especially Oakley, although probably not get on with his life. Come on, you can do it.
But the real Ranty, how you doing, Ranty?
Yeah, not too bad.
Feeling
full
any
of the
better?
flu. Just thought I'd pop in.
Netty Voyager.
How you doing, Nettie? Can you say hello?
Hello. Yeah, I can see you.
Good to have you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good to have you. So, Flat Earth Destroyed. Are you going to let Anthony address any of that?
How do I share a picture?
Top
Go
left-hand
for your
part
life.
of the screen.
I've got nothing to say to him.
Yeah, they've basically been completely undone with their own evidence in terms of Google's elevations, and now they're just going to continue attacking you, claiming that you've lied about something. No lies have been passed off here. No lies at all. Yes, mistakes have been made. They've been admitted to. No lies. Google is not 30 meters in excess of what it claims. That's basically the Globehead's position. He's higher than he says. No, he isn't. You guys, the Globe side, have gone out and measured a very specific point that has a value on Google, and it matches. You realise that? Flat Earth destroyed? Because Flat Earth isn't destroyed.
That picture, yeah, zoomed in on it, and that black mass above the water is actually a cloud. The land mass is just below it. You can see it because the lighthouse is on the very, very, very edge of the land mass. You can see it quite clearly when you zoom in on it and enhance it and change the contrast and that. You can see the land just above the water. So there's definitely land there. And I'm guessing it's only, 70 miles away if that?
Which picture are you talking about? The one I had on screen before?
Yeah, that big black mass above the horizon is cloud layer. Yeah? The actual land mass is below that on the waterline. You can just see it. And you can see the lighthouse just above the landmass as well. It's only about 3-4 millimeters high. You can clearly see it though if you enhance it, change the contrast, change the exposure and everything. Just stick it in any photo editor, zoom in on it, and you'll see it.
Well, that is my view. That's what I think we're looking at.
You are seeing an actual landmass, and you're seeing an actual lighthouse on the landmass itself. But above that big long black line, yeah, that's a cloud layer. You can clearly see it's a cloud layer. You just
You're about this bit here.
Yeah.
You think that's a cloud?
That big black cloud, that big black layer, yeah, above it, yeah. See where it goes blue, and then you see a really, really light blue gap, don't you, in between it? Well, that's air. That's just sky. Above that is the actual cloud layer, but below that blue gap, if you look very, very closely, above the waterline, you can see the landmass all the way across. And the
I
lighthouse
agree.
is-
I agree that this is land. I agree that this is cloud cover at the top, and I agree that this is low level land, and there is water underneath it, which is why we get this triangular shape on the surface of the water.
Yeah, that's
because
right. Yeah.
The land mass is dropping off.
Yeah.
My view is still that I still think that this is Ireland in the background.
But it's
I
there.
don't think it's Isle of Man. But that being said, I can't prove it. Because there is land there that's got too much elevation to it. If you say that it's Isle of Man, sure, there is land there that matches it, but it doesn't really match it because the elevation is not right.
Well, there
in
has
my
to be
opinion.
one there, or else the lighthouse wouldn't be sticking up, would it?
Are you on about this bit here?
Yeah, that bit at the end, that's the lighthouse. That white stick sticking up, that's the lighthouse. No,
I
that
think-
has to be above the horizon, which it is. You can see it's clearly above the horizon. So it has to be on land.
Personally, I think the white is the bridge of a ship, and I think the black thing next to it is part of the ship. And I think because there is a ship in the picture.
It's all ship, mate.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think it's a ship
I mean,
as well.
From
I've
that
got to be
distance,
honest.
think of the perspective. From the distance, what you're actually seeing from can't be a ship.
I think
Two
it's
But
a
a
big.
ship.
ship is generally bigger than the lighthouse. So
The lighthouse.
there could be a lighthouse here, but I do think this is the bridge of a ship. I do. But that being said, there's more information in the image that I mean, put it this way: me and Ranty went back last week, and we got very similar weather, and because we knew that there was stuff to look for, we actually went looking for it rather than just passing by with a video camera, which is what I did first time round. So Ranty's got much better quality images that we can overlay on top of this to enhance the image to make it look so you can see. I mean, look at all the land that's here. This land on the Isle of Man does not exist. It's too low. Now, the argument is, even if the Earth's a ball, all of this is missing, okay? But we're seeing something. And the ballers do not like this. But
Well,
if you're going to argue that it's the Isle of Man, then the Earth has to be flat. Because on a ball, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. If it was a ball, it'd drop off. You wouldn't see the lighthouse at that distance.
You wouldn't see any of it.
It'd be like, or whatever it is, you wouldn't see anything. There'd be nothing sticking up over the top of the waterline. No.
You might see the tippy tops of the highest points of Bride, but that would be it because the rest of it, and it would be on the horizon.
The highest hill, yeah. The very tippy top of the
We've
highest.
seen significant land, and that was why I asked the question.
Land, yeah. So it's got to be flat.
Yeah,
it has to be flat.
It has to be. If you're going to argue it's the Isle of Man, it has to be flat.
Sorry, excuse my French. You can't see up and over the water, can you?
No.
So it's got to be flat. Yeah, of course it's flat.
Yeah, I was
Water
going to
is
say
flat.
that's something we're all in agreement on from all perspectives. This is why Isle of Man was such a wonderful thing to look into from the start. It's a win-win. Ireland or Isle of Man, which was debated about at length, it's a win-win situation for flat Earth, not for globe. The globe is absolutely obliterated by this observation in so many different ways. The reason, the problem we have, so Ranty, myself, Chris, and Anthony, is that we haven't got a consensus about this last bit of land. We're literally on the last inch. I kid you not, we're on the last inch of the picture. But the bottom line is, in terms of what you're looking at, there is an argument that says that it could be Ireland. The elevations, it's worthy of argument, let's put it that way. That's the best way I can phrase it. And argue we do, continually, a lot. You know, and by argue, I don't mean in a heated, angry way. I mean, we discuss what we think is the correct assessment of the evidence. Now, I hope he doesn't get annoyed by my speaking for him, but Chris's answer to this was, yes, it could be Ireland in the background. That land could well be Ireland. Would I put my reputation on it? No. That's Chris's attitude towards it. Yes, there is definitely a possibility that right-hand side land contains Ireland in the image. Yes, it's a very real possibility, but Chris wouldn't stake his reputation on it. As it stands, Anthony wants to put that out there. In terms of the model doesn't incorporate Ireland. That's the bottom line. So therefore, we are not in consensus. So there's a couple of people in the comments, GeoStreber included, who's saying what happened on Sunday. So we had arranged to go on with Steve on Sunday. And then through a couple of illnesses, me being one of them, I was pretty sick. But mainly because I couldn't get all four people, sorry. No, leave that alone. Sorry. I couldn't get Chris, myself, Anthony and Rantony all together at the same time, so I had to cancel. And I said to him yesterday, I'll try and rearrange for a different date when we are all in good spirits, when none of us are sick and we're all available at the same time. We will go and do Steve's show. But at the moment, the slight issue is that we're literally, like I say, on the last inch of land, trying to come to a consensus about what a tiny part of the land is, because it could be Ireland, but Chris isn't prepared to put his reputation on that. And if he puts out a flat Earth model, he wants to be absolutely unequivocal about what he's declaring it is. There can't be any, ambiguity amongst us as a team. So that's why we're holding back. It's not something that we want to get wrong when we're using a model that isn't a failing model. It isn't Google Earth. It's the model of how it is, what is actually taking place. So we need to be in an absolute consensus about what gets presented in that regard. Now, I don't know, again, if Ranty and Anthony are going to get really annoyed with me at this stage, but the bottom line is, now the scale's set, that model's not going to change. It can't change. It is how it is. But the bottom line in terms of Anthony's position, it could still be Ireland. And with time that might be proven, but not at the moment, unfortunately. It's ambiguous.
Let me just respond to M. Scott Veach in chat. He said, it's not the front of the Isle of Man, it's the high points in the back. Now, this is essentially the issue, because I'm happy that the land that we see on the far left here, I'm happy that matches the land that we see here. And I'm happy that Bride falls into this part here, because that would be, hang on, let me go back to it. Where's Google Earth gone? Where are you? Hang on, too many tabs open. Let's get back to that. So Bride and the hills that are here is basically the extremity of the land that we would see, okay? But we have all of the other land that's to the right. Now, there is no more elevation. There is no more elevation. But M. Scott Veach says, well, it's the land that's at the back that's got higher elevation to it. Well, that's okay. And I can see the logic behind that. But the problem with that is the land in the background is 37 miles. So when you go back to the calculator and you put in the curve, instead of 32, it now becomes 37. But the land at the back then becomes 431 feet behind the curve of the Earth. But the elevation of that land in the background,
you've got to stop giving refracted hidden as the distance that it's behind the curve of the Earth. That's
this is the land that he's referring to.
Sure, but the value you've just given is a refraction value. So the refraction value also incorporates refraction. It doesn't depend on the sphericity of the Earth. The geometry of the Earth is negated by that. So it's an erroneous figure.
I know that, Nick, but this is their model. So what I'm trying to do is try and show them the problems with it. The highest land I can see there is around about 130 feet. That is the extent of the land. But when you put it in at 37 miles, it's 400 feet behind the curve. But in the background, there are mountains. There's elevation. There's significant mountains that you could see because they're like 2,500 feet.
Bring the calculator back up a second. So here we go. Just bring the calculator back up.
Yeah.
So even by their own distorted drop figure, it's 912 feet over the curve. It's below your feet, 912 feet, according to their maths. Now, that's a distorted figure. They have the camera angling down, not obeying the rules of the world, i.e. watching the horizon rise with you, isn't taken into account. They just point the camera down at the horizon. That's what they do in this model, this metabump calculation. But even by that distorted figure, it's 912 feet below you, on the other side of a curve, the other side of a hill. So, this refractive hidden nonsense, it's just like, well, that's their Band-Aid, and you're showing how badly their Band-Aid fails. Show them how badly their model fails, even with their distorted drop figure.
That's quite true, but don't forget, the original position by me is what is the land? Because what is it we're actually looking at? Now, there's a guy in chat called Shane Corliss, and he's saying Slieve Donard, 94 miles away, 2,700 feet high. I agree. We see it in the image. Let me get rid of this. We see that in the background. So when we have the line of sight, I think it's one of these ones. I can't remember exactly now. It's been a while since I've done it. But when we move the line of sight to wherever it is that we're looking at, we see that there are mountains in the background, and that gives us the elevation that we need to explain what we're looking at here. Isle of Man's too low. So for everybody that argues that this is obviously the Isle of Man, then you guys must be flat earthers, because that land is not.
I can't let that slide, Anthony. When I've just eaten a big, massive slice of humble pie, and you've said it's a line of sight on Google Earth. It isn't a line of sight. It's a curved line that runs the length of the sphere Earth. That's what it does. It's not
Yeah, don't forget that
a line
Google
of
Earth
sight.
actually curves.
It curves, so therefore, where it shows
Yeah,
you Ireland in the
yeah.
background, it's showing you a distorted view of the world.
It
So
is.
I can't really, I can't eat humble pie and go, the evidence on Google Earth and a sphere Earth that Chris modelled led me to believe it was Ireland. And then you go, well, I still think it's Ireland based on that evidence that I've conceded I'm wrong about.
You'd have to project Google Earth into a CAD drawing and flatten it all out.
Exactly.
Well, that's exactly what we've done.
That's what we've done, but we haven't presented it yet.
Mm. So you're keeping the meat and veg for later.
To be honest, Nath, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that you've eaten humble pie too prematurely, because this land is too high to be seen, even if it is the Isle of Man. This is the reason why I asked the question in the first place.
I agree.
Now, I don't think
I don't disagree. I gave loads of disclaimers at the beginning. Said, look, what Chris said was specific. Yes, it very well could be Ireland. However, I wouldn't put my reputation on it. So based on that, I'm happy to concede it and say, in the future, you may very well prove it's Ireland in the background with further images. But in terms of the model that gets presented, at the moment, it's just a stumbling block. I didn't really want to have this conversation live, but we've had it for about 2 weeks, so what the hell?
Yeah, no.
I don't think it changes anything, Nathan. I think at the end of the day, M. Scott Veitch is saying that this land with the drop, it accounts for it. I'll read his line. It says, with the drop, it works out. No, M. Scott Veitch, it doesn't work out at all. It's ridiculously far below the curve of the Earth. I don't know why you think
Did you not just see the figures at 37 miles, 100 feet piece of land viewed from about... We're claiming this at 35 feet elevation for this particular observation, so we'll use that observation height. 35 feet this is being viewed from. It's about 115 feet high mound, 37 miles in the distance, and he thinks it's accounted for with drop. You're just a liar.
And don't forget though, Nate, this is
There you
35
go.
feet with
Drop.
tide.
See this? That's how much it's dropped according to your bullshit maths. Where you point the camera down at the horizon, which no one ever does, and Anthony didn't do on this observation. But according to you, it's 912 feet on the other side of a hill. What the hell are you talking about? It's not counted for in the slightest. Bloody liar. M. Scott Veitch, lied to by his dad about going to space, now lying to us about the curvature of Earth. Just because Daddy lied to you.
His dad went to space, oh no.
No, his dad lied to him about going to space and lied to the general public about going to space. But if you can lie to your own child about it, then, basically that's going to pass down the family. Apple don't fall far from the tree, so it seems.
Few generations of compulsive liars.
Yeah, Apple don't fall far from the tree. He's just told the audience in the chat, which is published, that the drop accounts for it. No, M. Scott Veitch, you're as big a liar as your father.
Even Newton lied about that.
What a basic bullshit artist. Forbes magazine pay you. Do they know that you lie through your back teeth?
Bollocks. Yeah, the apple was heavy.
Can I just remind everybody that's watching right now that the observer height was 35 feet, but I've put in 52, not because it's the height of the upper cliff, but it's just an adjustment towards the sea. So the 35's have gone up to 52 feet, and it's still massively behind the curve. But M. Scott Veitch says that, well, drop accounts for it. No, it doesn't. Drop is miles worse for you guys. M. Scott Veitch, I don't understand why you would argue that drop accounts for it. It doesn't at all. 900 feet below my feet is not what we are seeing.
He's been raised a liar by a man who lied about going to space to his son's face. So that's just basically fled down, and apple don't fall from the tree. Raised by a liar, you're going to be a liar.
Yep.
M. Scott Veitch says, Nathan Oakley, even if I was wrong, meaning himself, then I would just be mistaken, silly. In other words, he's saying that he's got no intention to deceive. Well,
yeah, your intention to deceive is absolute, M. Scott Veitch. We know it is. You are a deceiver.
I know that M. Scott Veitch is not stupid, but I also see that he's claiming to be innocent with regard to his mental state when he claims that the drop would account for it, yet the drop is completely and utterly hidden by the bulge of the Earth. M. Scott Veitch, I'm beginning to wonder where your
hold on, I've just taken a different attitude to this. So you were mistaken, M. Scott Veitch. So presumably you will now concede publicly in the chat that this land is not visible on a sphere. You were mistaken. The drop doesn't account for it. Now we will accept your mistake. Now concede that you can't see it on your bullshit globe.
Geo Strieber says that I mix up drop and hidden again. No, Geo. I don't mistake it at all. We understand it well because we were the ones that argued why this map didn't make sense underneath. We understand it completely, Geo Strieber. This land should not be seen if the Earth is a ball. Any of it. It's
No.
behind the curve of the Earth. For those that argue it's the Isle of Man, you're arguing that the Earth's flat, because that's the only chance in hell you've got of seeing this elevation of land. And I don't think there's enough elevation. I think there's way too much elevation here to explain that it's Isle of Man from such a distance away. This has got to be more than 35 feet's worth of land, which is what it claims is Isle of Man. It's nonsense. Don't understand how you can take this position, boys, and still claim that it's a ball. It makes no sense
Right,
whatsoever.
let's test his claim. He's saying that the land is actually 600-ish feet. Sleeping Warrior.
The
elevation along the line of sight gets as high as 600 feet. So, let's go to the right-hand side of the island and, right, you find me something 600 feet beyond that the right-hand side of that yellow line. No, right-hand side of the yellow line.
The highest I can find is about 250.
No, right-hand side of the... No. Right-hand side of the yellow line. This is the line of sight we're looking through. So,
well, the highest that I can see in the background is about 100 and something. Let's just put this on chat so everybody can see the comment that we're referring to.
It's on screen anyway. It's published. Don't worry about putting the chat up. Just show us the Isle of Man and the bit that's
I want to put it in context. So, Sleeping Warrior, the elevation along the line of sight gets as high as 600 feet-ish. If we go along the line of sight, 50, 40, 30, 70, 100, 100, 90, 80, 70, 100, 130. Right, we haven't got anywhere near 200 feet. Yeah, he's saying that it's 600 feet-ish. He's trying to persuade and convince the audience watching that this is in some way explainable on a ball.
This is the son of an astronaut, M. Scott Veach, writes for Forbes magazine. This is the person who is now telling you it's 600 feet along this line of sight, which isn't a line of sight. It's a curved line around a ball. It's not a line of sight, M. Scott Veach. Don't be so dishonest. So, I'll go back to my original request. You've got it wrong twice. The drop doesn't account for it, and none of the stuff along the quote line of sight, actually a curved line around a ball Earth, none of it's at 600 feet. So, we still are in the same situation where we have land at about max 150 feet that is seen from a 35 feet elevation. You've got it wrong twice. Now I want to see you concede your error and the fact that we cannot see this on a sphere Earth, M. Scott Veach. Are you going to redeem yourself with some honesty?
Obviously not, but we'll give him a chance anyway. And whilst he's answering your question, Nathan, specifically answering your question, Nathan, I'm going to remind people what he's just said. The elevation along the line of sight gets as high as 600 feet. Well, the highest point I could find was only 301 feet. That's the highest point that I could find on this southern part, unless this bit here is any higher. 250 feet.
That's the what we call the seashell in the picture, in the actual image. If you want to bring the image back up. So that last piece is the highest piece. Beyond that, everything's lower. And that is in the image. That seashell-shaped piece of land is in the image. And everything beyond it, to the left of the line of sight, is less than 150 feet high. Yet it's still represented in the image. This is why there's some contention about it being Ireland.
So I will agree that this is probably the cliff face that we see in the Isle of Man. But my position is it stops here because there is no more elevation. I don't care what people argue about. There isn't. So all of the other land that's over here is substantial land. It's high enough to be seen from 35 miles away, and it shouldn't be there on a ball. But even if it's flat, it shouldn't be Isle of Man because it's too flat. It's too low. So even on a flat plane, this doesn't make sense for me. Now, I'm not saying absolutely that I'm saying it's absolutely Ireland, but I'm saying that the arguments in favour of it being the Isle of Man are not persuasive for me. That's why there's a disagreement, because this bit I'm happy with, but the rest of it makes no sense to me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. It's not enough elevation. So that's where we're trying to discuss why is there such elevation here? Because it's supposed to be flat. And we're seeing it. It's floating, so there's also land up to the horizon that's below this bit that appears to be floating. This is a real thing. This is an evidential thing that we're all trying to work with. It's not easy, and we don't always agree on stuff.
Yeah, it's clear that M. Scott Veach wants it to be Isle of Man and is happy to laugh at us for saying it was Ireland, but then wants it to be 600 feet in elevation while it's Isle of Man seen from 35 feet. That's what he wants. In other words, he wants his fantasy to expand beyond the realms of bullshit.
Yeah, just a bit.
Can I do a little 2 or 3 minute presentation?
Yeah, if you want.
That'd be all
You
right.
go ahead, Ranty.
Yeah, sure. Let me know when I'm sharing.
You're sharing.
Okay, right. So we arranged to meet Anthony. So me and the missus came to St. Bees, and we sat on this bench here. Had my camera out, and I was taking some images of the Isle of Man. And this was just one of the images, which is the rightmost part of the southern part of the Isle of Man. So when I've brought out and found out what we're actually looking at, this is the nose part that we're all very familiar with. So this is the line of sight, and the distance to that nose point is 38 miles. So I'll just scroll in and show you that I've got that correct. So yeah, so I'm just going to come down a little bit so you can see the same topography of the land.
Is that real, Arwen? How you doing, Arwen? No. Arwen managed to boot Ranty. Did he boot you too, Sleeping Warrior?
I got him straight away as well, but he managed to get boot Ranty. Apologies, Ranty. I did do it quick, but he got you. Bring you back in on Skype, Nath, if you would. Do you want me to?
Will do.
Do the homework.
There you go. Hello,
Morning,
Alan.
boys.
How you doing?
Hello.
Bye, Alan.
You're right.
If you want to carry on presenting, just give me 30 seconds, Ranty, and I'll get your screen back up so you're presenting again.
Yeah, sure.
Just share your
tell me
screen.
when to share
You
screens.
don't need to worry about a great deal. Just share like you would normally on Skype.
I'm just going to mute Netty Voyager while he's not at his machine.
There we go. You're presenting now.
Okay, so here we have I'll show you the image again, actually, because you might have forgotten what I was presenting. But there's the end of the Isle of Man. It comes down, then you've got the little nose point, and it comes off. And here we have the little nose point, and it comes off. So I'm going to scroll in. So this is where I've put my marker in the red line, which is where I believe that we're coming up to. And that's about 180 feet or so here, 185 feet. The problem is that from the distance and the altitude that I was at, this polygon that I've put in here, if I show you on, where are we? That's a bunk. 38 miles, viewer height 21 feet. The refracted hidden was 583. The actual hidden was 700 feet. So I've actually put the smaller value in.
There, though, have you?
Sorry?
Have you accounted for tide?
Yeah. It was actually, if you look at, well, I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, the tide was at 4.5 meters, so it was. I'm not sure whether it was on its way in or way out, but it was actually quite close to us. It was nice and soothing listening to it. But yeah, so effectively, this here is the height that we shouldn't have seen. And this is getting passed over a lot by people. Here's a low point, 60 feet. There's where we should have. There's where I actually saw to. But all this should be hidden.
Yeah, that's an issue.
That's a major issue.
Yeah,
There's
the whole
also
island
another
is riddled with them. Major issues for the globe.
I also videoed a boat. It was 20. I'll have to put the presentation together, but I found out what it was. It was 29.7 miles away. Anthony saw it as well. He thought it looked like a pirate boat, but it wasn't. And I basically saw that from about 20 feet, sitting, doing its merry thing on the horizon. So there you go.
So we have approximately 1 hour left on this live stream. Hope you're enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video. If you do join the panel, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please do not try to rejoin using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. As I say, we have approximately 1 hour left on this live stream. Please share the show if you've not done so already, as sharing the show increases the chances of a more diverse panel. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Nathan, GeoStream is asking whether you'll be there on Sunday. He sent me a message in Skype.
Well, I can ask you two live. I mean, are you two keen to go on Steve's show on Sunday? It's the show that we cancelled last week.
Yeah, sure.
Fine, yeah, sure.
Okay, then pending Chris saying, yes, I'm sure we will be there, GeoStreamer. Just need to get a nod from Chris first. But yes, the other two participants, Ranty in particular, I hadn't managed to get hold of and ask because he's been very ill. But now he's, you can probably hear he's ill. But yeah, he's well enough to present his findings, which he's been tripping out over while he's been ill.
I have, actually.
The other thing is, of course, Nathan's not had the chance to go there. But there might be a change in scenery for Nathan soon.
Yeah,
Do you want to tell them?
Go up there. I do want to go up there for sure.
So if it happens and Nathan does go up there, and we see this mountain, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. If it's 35 feet off the surface at high tide, it is 35 feet off the surface at high tide. It's that simple. So, I don't know.
Hey, Jibby Jedi, you've gone straight on mute, so clearly just here to snipe.
Yeah, he put me on mute before.
No need.
Hi, Jibby.
Yesterday we had nothing but non-stop trolling because we pointed out that the Globeheads had confirmed that Google isn't wildly inaccurate in their elevations, and today we've just got the usual standard of people coming in to mute us and boot us. But here we are, pointing out that the Isle of Man proves the Earth is flat, and as always, it's not particularly welcomed by people who are under the delusion that they live on a sphere. Oh well.
So yeah, for me. It always reverts back to, for those people that argue that it is the Isle of Man, these people must be flat earthers, because there is no explanation on the ball Earth for why this would be. Alan B, your answer is yes.
Did we get a concession from Scott Veach? He's now talking about sounding his banana cam rather than conceding that this land is absolutely unequivocally not visible on a sphere, rather than claiming it's, again, a different height, 600 feet, which is clearly not the case. It was demonstrated live shortly after he stated it. Maybe he'll claim he's made another mistake without actually making the concession that we cannot see this land on a sphere Earth. Who knows?
Yeah, and I'd echo that. I would say the exact same thing. Scott Veach, you claimed that there was land at 600 feet and that the drop figure would explain what we see, yet we've just demonstrated that the drop figure is terrible for you guys, and that there is no land at even like 250 feet. So you might find the odd peak somewhere, but I tried to find the highest peak I could, and it doesn't explain what we see. There is far more land on evidence that we should see. So if you're going to claim that this is a mistake, then at least do it publicly.
Yeah,
were you mistaken?
He's saying we have misunderstood what he said as a chat warrior. It's like there's a link. Just join, Scott. Tell us what we've got wrong. Because as far as I can tell, you've just misled the audience and told them that you could account for this observation with the drop. Then you've said that there's 600 feet in elevation there. Well, now you're claiming that you've sent us a picture on Skype while we're doing a live broadcast that obviously we haven't looked at. You know, you're just obfuscating the facts that you can't see this land on a sphere.
No, I'll show the picture that he sent in Skype. Share screens.
Hey, you donkey. Can I help you?
Yeah, man. How you all doing?
Oh, it's Hellboy. Yeah, you swore hell. You just try not to swear. Join again tomorrow. Clearly got something stuck in your ears when I said don't join using socks if you're booted for swearing.
And Hellboy, if you do come in tomorrow, my first question to you will be: do you understand that the land that we see in the video, that's evidenced in the video, is behind the curvature of the Earth? All of it, not just the tippy tops of it, all of it. Now, even if you're going to argue that you might get a bit of refraction to see the tippy tops of it, sure, I'll give you that for the sake of debate. But there is clearly a lot more land there. So, Hellboy, if you do come back tomorrow, make sure that you have.
Hey Riley, do you fear the
Alan, how you doing?
Make sure that you do have the answer to that question in hand. Sorry, Jeff. What the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, I'll show you thingy. Right, so if I screen share, right, so M. Scott Veach. So there is the pictures that M. Scott Veach claims there is 600 feet of elevation. So let's check it. He's talking about Ramsey. Right, all right. So M. Scott Veach is talking about 600 feet of elevation, and that land that he's talking about is here. Zoom back out a little bit. I'll get back onto reset. Oh, I'll have to just spin it around. So if this is really the level of skill and expertise and poise that we're expected to get, this is the land that M. Scott Veach is talking about. He's claiming that this land can be seen here. No, M. Scott Veach, you've made a mistake. Again. Tilly, shush. Thank you. No.
So yeah, Isle of Man obliterates the sphere. It's been pretty much obvious from the moment I saw it that it was a win-win situation that the globe would never recover from. You know, I'll make the same sort of assertions that Hellboy made. I recognised it within 3 minutes. It didn't take me 10. I mean, clearly Hellboy's just thick. But that's fine. Within 3 minutes, I recognised that this was a win-win situation and that there was no way the globe would ever account for any of these observations. You know, all that they would do is lie. Lie. They went further in this instance. They went to actually changing the curve calculator's demonstration for people to see what they think they see.
And to be honest, I mean, it took me 3 minutes to work out that it could be the Isle of Man, but it took me an extra 30 seconds to look at the elevation and think there's no way that we're going to see that. No way on this Earth. So I spent an extra 30 seconds on it and came to the conclusion that this is not straightforward. Hence why the video went out. And hence the question, what is the land we're looking at? Because if the assertion is it's the Isle of Man, the Earth can only be flat. If the assertion is that it can't be the Isle of Man, then the Earth may well be spherical, but we're looking at Ireland behind it. Now, even if the Earth's a ball, Ireland behind it makes sense. Even if the Earth's flat, Isle of Man makes no sense because there's too much elevation of land. Way too much. So for me, I'm still confused by it. It seems to be Isle of Man, but it's way taller. So there must be some kind of non-standard refraction hyena nonsense going on. But I don't see that, I just see that there's land there. So
you guys have debunked that. So you've gone back on a different day under different conditions. You said it was also a very good day. However, it's 4 months apart, the two different observations. So very much different conditions, albeit a clear day. And that's all you need to see further on a flat plane, a clear day. So they've got two different clear days and the observation is identical. It's not looming any higher. It's not looming any lower. It's not in a different position. The land that's on the right is still there in exactly the same place. But it's getting better. The observation's being repeated with higher quality images. So for all those people that think it's refraction, unfortunately not. The perfect storm of refraction isn't the case here. We have it on different different conditions. It's repeatable. So no, it's not refraction. Refraction isn't bringing it back from behind the curve. That's nonsense. If it was bringing it back from behind the curve, it wouldn't be repeatable. You'd have a different effect on a different day. You'd have different levels of refraction, and you don't. The observations are identical.
it'd be cool to know if Ranty's put any of the. I know he's been ill for the last couple of days, but what we were hoping and expecting really that at some point soon, Ranty would have put some of the overlays back in the composite from the pictures that he got to enhance the composite and to make so that people can see the difference and where that land has been added by Ranty. That is better land than what I got. But if he did it on top of the original composite, then people would see where it's been added, and then it would help everybody see that Ranty saw more, and this needs to be explained on a ball. So I'm hoping Ranty gets round to that when he gets better, but I'm just going to have to answer the phone, so give me 2 secs.
You still there, Auntie? Because
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I've not had a chance to go through them properly yet.
no worries. You've been ill, mate. But the thing I'm slightly more keen for you to present, because I sort of talked it down because I was so excited about the Isle of Man images you got. You also showed us something else, and at the time I was like, "Oh, that doesn't matter." And you'd put quite a lot of effort into it, so I sent you a message yesterday explaining that I was a bit guilty about that because it was actually a wonderful demonstration. I'm hoping you'll tell us a bit about it. But in essence, it's of a ship that's not nowhere near as far as Isle of Man, but basically the effect that you replicate with that. Oh, here we go. Let's just screen share you. Bear with me a second, Ranty. I'll just bring you up. Let's get you on screen. There we go.
Yeah, so we saw this boat on the horizon. It appeared it was probably about maybe 10 miles away. The only problem is the trials I can't identify it. For whatever reason, they must have had the AIS transponder taken off or whatever. In any event, right, this boat appeared about 10 miles away. And from this elevation, it was about 60 feet when I took this image. So I thought, I'll go and see if I can see any lower. So I went down to the next level, which was around about 20 feet. And what you're seeing here is you're seeing the effects of refraction starting to take place. However, the height above sea level of the boat and the masts at the top are identical. You know, there's no discernible difference between the two. The only thing that's changing is this is being blended into the horizon, into the vanishing point. I then went down to around about 5 feet in altitude, and this is what I got. You see this little red part here, which is this part on here, and this part here. And again, the height above sea level is pretty much constant for these masts. Nothing's changing. The only thing that's happening is the boat is disappearing from the bottom up, but it's disappearing from the bottom up because it's blending into the vanishing point. That's all that's happening.
Well, to be more accurate, what's occurring is you're changing your elevation, and by doing so, you're changing the vanishing point. So your vanishing point changes with elevation, which is precisely what we all say as flat earthers. That is what dictates how far you can see. And as you go down the cliff, that's where you start to lose the bottom of the boat. As you go back up the cliff, what do you know? It comes back because your vanishing point has increased with altitude.
And this was one of the last images that I took. We got down to 1.7 meters here, so around about 6 feet. I'd walked quite a fair way out across the sands. I wasn't so far away from the water's edge when I took this. And again, you know, I mean, you can see that the height of the masts above the actual sea level are constant. You know, nothing's changing. The only thing that's changing is that you're losing the boat into this vanishing point. It's not going over the horizon.
Yeah, if you can force the obstruction by changing your elevation, it proves that it's not curvature that's obstructing the boat. You can go back up the hill and see it again. It's not because you're bringing it back from behind the curve, it's your vanishing point changing with elevation. So, excellent demonstration, Ranty.
Perfect. Right. Stop sharing me if you want. Oh, stop presenting me.
I just want to take a minute to address Sly Sparkane. Sly Sparkane. I don't think he's in chat anymore, actually, so I don't think I'll bother because I don't think he'll see it. Oh, no, he is. So Sly Sparkane says Riley has lost both Ramsey and Blackpool. All right, so Sly Sparkane, I hope you're paying attention, dumbass. I'm going to go back to an old observation that me and Ranty did maybe 2 years ago, 18
Is that
months ago.
actually Tim Osman?
Good morning. Why are you sniping me out, Riley?
So you're presenting now, Sleeping Warrior. How you doing, Alan? People get sniped on this show. It's just one of those things that happens, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just terrible, Alan. It's terrible. I'm so sorry that you're getting sniped out so much, Jeff. It kills my heart to see you getting sniped. I wish people wouldn't snipe you out, Alan. Right, so Ly Sparkane. Right. Runty and I, a few years ago, did an observation from Hoy Lake up to Blackpool Tower. And Ly Sparkane takes great pleasure in telling everybody that, where's the rest of the city of Blackpool, Riley? And it's like, there is no city of Blackpool to miss, dude. None of it's in the picture. Because the tower is visible there. As you can see, all of the town is to the right of it. And it's not in the picture. There's no town missing, Sly. It's not there. Too small. We're looking at something 400 feet high, and the rest of Blackpool is like 60 feet. Why would you expect to see the town when it's too small? It's the same reason that you can't see the Ramsey. It's the same reason that you can't see other things. The exact same reason. It's too small. It sits into that little band of dirty horizon air or reflection or optical atmospheric stuff that you guys call obstruction, that you guys think is the curvature of the Earth. That's where it is. So it's not that it's missing. It's just that it's too small to be seen. I've just dropped Nettie back onto mute because he's making too much noise. So consider yourself told off, Nettie.
Did you notice that Alan joined using a Tim Osman sock? Did you notice that?
I did.
So just in case Tim Osman was wondering who is replicating his accounts, now you know.
It's Jeff. And he probably does know. And he probably plays the victim card because he's the massive victim himself. The queen of Flat Earth. Rig, why snipe Sleeping Warrior? Why snipe Sleeping Warrior? Blackpool is a coast city with an extremely bright coastline. Thomas, are you there, dude?
I am, yes.
Oh, good.
Thomas.
Let me just address Ly Sparkane.
Pop your watch page on mute, please,
Blackpool is a
Thomas.
coast city with an extremely bright coastline, and it is not in your image. Perhaps it needed to be a clear day. Well, given it was nighttime, it's not likely to be seen at nighttime, is it? And Ranty's got pictures of Blackpool with a bright coastline, and there are piers in the way that block the lights from the streets. Ranty, if you want to show Ly Sparkane, your footage showing the street lights of Blackpool, and then perhaps you'll understand why they can't be seen.
Give me a second to find it.
Thomas, what can we do for you, sir?
I'm just here to listen, mate.
Oh, you sound local. Are you from Liverpool?
I am, yes. Just over there, over the water in Morton.
Really?
Yeah.
One of my favourite jaunt over the water. Looking back over the city.
You got one of your videos on YouTube, Sim Hoy Lake, innit?
Yeah. Hoy Lake's my favourite. One of my favourite observation points because you can see stuff that you shouldn't be able to see if you live on a ball. 30-mile observation of a 518 foot tower.
Bear with me a second, Sleeping. Thomas, can you just hover over your mute button just when you're not talking, because either your speakers are very loud or something, but you're causing quite a lot of feedback.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just mute when you're not talking.
Or move your mic away from your speakers if you can, or turn your speakers down a little bit.
Found the mute button. He's
just
good.
on my phone.
So,
would the River Mersey not be good to do a laser test over?
Yeah, it's not very wide though. That's the only trouble with it. And there's high banks in it. It's not easy to get down onto the. I mean, I'm looking at across the gap now. Hang on, I'm looking at the wrong side. Let's try that. It looks like it's about a mile in width.
Hey, Jazzaconda, how you doing?
Not long enough, really. Like, no.
Can you hear us,
No, you can do some stuff. Jazzy there.
Yeah, mate.
Good to have you. There you go, Ranty, you're presenting.
Okay. Yeah, basically it was it's hard to remember exactly where I was now, but it was about this location. I was in Barrow, so it was a different direction. But basically, it was looking over at Blackpool. So in this sort of direction there. Where are we? So here we go. This was the image that I captured. Blackpool Tower. This was I forget what it's called now. It's a big hotel right in front of Blackpool Tower. What's happening now is though that we have 3 piers that come out. They jut out one after the other, and they are stopping you seeing everything that should be in this location here. For instance, if I go to Google Earth, I'll show you what I mean. So here's the 3 piers. 1, 2, 3. If I get this line of sight, and I'll move it. Well, I hate that. So yeah, so this was the line of sight. Here we have this pier coming out, and it blocks all these street lights coming over here. The next pier is still in the direct line of sight of the previous pier, so you wouldn't see any of that too. As you can see, there's no way through, but there is a very small part here where you can actually see before you get to the final pier, and that's evidenced in the image, which is here. And these are streetlights that were down at 14 feet in elevation, and distance to there, can't remember what it was now. So the distance to there, measurements 17.9 miles, and I was right on the shoreline, right in the water basically when I took these images. So yeah, so there's the illuminations. The one part that we were able to capture and see, 14 feet. Here's the roller coaster, the big one. There's the backside of the roller coaster. There's the White Tower, the Ice Blast. This was a crane that was on the promenade. And there you go. So from basically 18 miles away, at sea level, about 3 feet in elevation, I was able to see these parts of the illumination, which was the only break in the piers, and these were sitting at 14 feet. I might be able to show you actually if I go into Street View. Let's put myself here. So here they are, there's the sea. These are the illuminations that we were looking at.
Did they not bother to move that car when they painted?
Yeah, they want the money back now. But yeah, I mean, these are hanging around about 10 feet up. And obviously the tide was quite in when I took this image. So yeah, I estimated it about 14 feet. So 17.9 miles, 40. I don't even know what the curve calculations are on that, but I imagine it's pretty good. Metabunk, distance in miles, got 18 just for 3 feet in elevation. Refracted hidden 141, normal hidden 168. The drop would have been 216 feet. But basically I was seeing these here, and there's the sea. And Barrow is over here, where my cursor is.
Yeah, man, busting the globe. Love it.
I don't know whether it's localized because it seems flat everywhere around here. I'll do some more observations everywhere else.
The reality is, if it's flat in one location, it's flat because it should be a sphere everywhere from every vantage point.
In all directions.
Yep. But apparently
Ranty,
we've got to go to
how
apparently
often
we've
do
got to go to Lake Pontchartrain to actually see curvature.
Yeah, but you need to buy special poncho boots if you do that. You can't wear normal sole shoes. You got to have special poncho boots that have got curved soles because the amount of curve over there is huge.
Yeah, and when you go over the bridges over there, you get launched into orbit on the bridges because they're so steep.
Ranty, Lie Sparkane claims that the Joshua.
How you doing, Josh? Good to have you.
Hi, Nathan.
You're very quiet. I'll turn you up.
Hi, everyone. Hi. I was just popping in. I was just. Sorry about that. I was just wondering. You guys saw the SpaceX thing, right?
You mean fake X?
SpaceX.
No, SpaceX. You saw a guy that just the other day, a civilian launched a rocket into space in a car, right? What do you guys think about that?
I was
car?
watching Cartoon Network, to be honest.
I think what goes up must come down.
That's your chip, and not really an answer.
Well, I think that everything that goes up comes down and lands back in the ocean again. It gets destroyed on impact. Most of it sinks. Bits of it get washed up. They claim it's MH370, but it's actually part of a rocket at some point. I think that everything that goes up comes straight back down again.
Did you have a look at the footage? Did you have a look at the footage? The Starman high def camera of the cameras around his car. Have you had a look at that? It is beautiful.
I'll be honest. I haven't seen anything of the footage. I've just seen like screenshots of it from other flat earthers that I subscribe to and enjoy their content, and them laughing at it completely. I haven't seen it. If Nath wants to give me a link, or maybe you can give me a link, I don't mind showing it. We can show it for people.
But
Code 26.
What's your point? How you doing, Code 26?
Yeah.
Randy?
Hold on, just one sec. Can you hear us, Code?
Yeah, hello. My friend told me to come here.
That sounds like, what's his name? Hellboy. Just come tomorrow, Hellboy.
Ranty, whilst we're getting back to equilibrium, do you want to address Lie Sparkane? He claims that the promenade piers are all lit up. Is that true?
Before you even go on with that, don't you think that just a guy showing photos of the round Earth just super recently has any bearing on this whole discussion? Like, it's the flat Earth debate, right? And you guys are kind of just talking about a long distance photography debate. And that's what you've been going on about for months and months.
So let me get this straight. Your objection is that we're looking at the Earth whilst debating the shape of it, but you think we should take into account a flying car, right?
But as researchers, as people that are looking into everything that's going on in the world and trying to understand it all, you must be aware of the fact that a civilian basically launched the biggest payload that could ever be launched off this planet. It was a milestone, and there was amazing coverage of it. You have to sort of factor that in. I only got an answer from Riley. He said, "What goes up must come down." Nathan, could I ask you what do you think about SpaceX? What's your thoughts?
I have no idea of the legitimacy of that footage. Watching something on TV is very different to going out and actually studying the land with your own eyes and own equipment, like a camera, taking a long distance observation that you feel somehow is invalid. However, what I see on TV, I don't even watch. I ignore it. I don't have a TV set. I'm not interested in the propaganda that it presents. If you want to accept that propaganda, that's up to you. Good. If that's your evidence that we live on a sphere, good for you.
There's plenty of other evidences we live on a sphere. I was just wondering how you fit it into your worldview.
Say hello, Arwin.
And so I understand that you just decide to ignore it all.
Well, he's already said he hasn't seen it, and I've said I haven't seen it either. So how could we comment on something that neither of us have seen? Do you not understand how that's a paradox?
No, I understand, Anthony. But if you're researching stuff, you should be up to date on things, right? And this is a really big thing that happened in the last day, and there's beautiful, brand new images of the round Earth from space. that's not NASA. It's a different thing.
If you've already looked into SpaceX and generally concluded that the general position with SpaceX stuff is that it's nonsense, why would you expect or think that I would be interested in looking at the next most recent set of propaganda that the only people that are likely to fall for are numpties?
So just ignoring it. That basically that's the head in the sand tactic. You're not gonna watch the
Come on,
video.
guys. It was a
Not
CGI
interested.
stunt. It was amazing. But
So you watched it, Arlen?
the
Did you
guy
watch it? Did you
himself
actually watch
even said,
Code,
you know, it's real because it looked so fake. Come on.
Yeah, it's anyone that says it's real because it looks so fake. He's laughing at you, Code. Do you understand
Yeah,
that?
it was an amazing statement, but
You
the whole
didn't
thing
listen
is
to
a
the
piece of
full
art.
interview.
It's a piece of mind art. It's a test. How far will you take your belief?
Yeah, it's a stupidity test.
I thought it was brilliant. I thought I literally
Did you listen to the
like,
full
wow.
interview? You heard him
For
say
one
it,
moment, I
it
don't
wouldn't
care
be so
anymore.
real
It
if it was
doesn't matter
fake.
if it's a globe. I just thought it was amazing. Who would come up with that? You have to be a genius of some kind to come up with this.
All you heard was it was the interview was on the interview was it looks so real that it could be fake. You never heard.
No. That's not what he said.
No, it is true because one of you just said that all the research I can do is listen to what other flat earthers researchers do.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy.
you didn't hear what Elon Musk said
Did he say something different? Has he
one and
been
a half seconds after that.
Did he?
Did you hear what he said?
Fill us in. Tell us.
Did you hear what he said?
Fill us in. Tell us.
Why don't you show it to us?
No, just tell us.
Play the video.
No, I don't have to tell you it. I don't have to show you it because if you could research it, you
Then
should have
why
listened
would we
to it.
care?
Well, the issue is not whether I can research it or not. It's whether or not I accept it without seeing it. That's the issue.
But
that's
Anthony. Why won't you go see it? Watch
Because I'm
it.
not interested. It's like saying, why don't you talk about geometry or something? I'm not really
Can't see
interested.
it. That's the point. You can't see it. Unless you're about to tell me that you witnessed this car in space, you cannot see that. That's
No
something
one,
that you...
no.
I'm
Hold
just
on.
wondering
I
about.
hadn't quite
It's
finished.
the
I was going
car
to
in
say,
space. The
just
point
bear with me.
is,
You all think. Can I just finish my sentence? You guys think you have seen it because it has been presented to you on a television screen. You think you've seen it. You haven't.
I'm just wondering,
Nathan.
like, how long is it gonna take before that car crashes into a satellite?
I want to know how long it'll be before I get the speeding ticket.
Yeah, and
oh,
also the theory that our new car's gonna be launched into space by other car companies as a stunt, and will they eventually crash in space, in orbit? Will there be a car crash up there?
No.
See, the creative mind just. This is why
the
it's art,
chances are
because
unlikely.
it works. It's art because it works, because it makes me kind of stop caring if it's a globe or if it's flat, and I'm just thinking about it, and that is art.
Approximately 1 hour left, half an hour left on this live stream. Hope you're enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and a link in the info box below the video once it is rendered. If you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the chances of a more diverse panel. One last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is a little under half an hour left on this live stream.
No, it means that I think that Elon, like this idea that a private citizen is allowed to own a company like SpaceX is nonsensical.
See, I actually, in the scope of just how people, for some reason, the last 10 years with tech booms and things, have actually just turned into billionaires. it's not so crazy for me to think that some smart kid turned into a billionaire and he just always wanted to go to space. I mean, like
absolutely, and good on him.
That sounds so cool to me.
There's a government agency called the NSA that poses as corporations, and I'm pretty sure Elon Musk would be
NSA?
affiliated with that.
I don't think the NSA poses as corporations, really.
Well, you should do more research then, because they absolutely do.
Sorry, how exactly does that work? Because I think that's generally known that the NSA is a government organization and it acts like a government organization, and it doesn't pose like anything else than a government organization. So
That's untrue, Arwen. The joke of the NSA is it's called no such agency because people don't really talk about it.
Okay, I didn't know you passed that threshold of no longer making any sense. So that's fine.
What are you talking about? Do you know what the NSA is? You're not even American, dude.
Right.
I don't think it's the fact that he's American, but Owen, you're hell bent on governments around the world are effing everyone over.
Am I?
They are. They talk about it. They openly discuss it.
Oh, absolutely. They are all the time. They're effing me right now.
The NSA was born in about 1947, the same time as the CIA and all the rest of them. Shortly after Roswell, they all sprung up.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
well, that's right. All that may be the case, but it still turns out that there's essentially a private citizen that sure must have ties to NASA because they're the other players in the game, right? And he needs their launch pads and things. He's obviously very connected to NASA and governments and things like that because they've got all the infrastructure to allow him to just make rockets and send them into space. And that's what he did the other day. And that's so cool. And it's so weird that all of you flat earthers are just willing to not even look at this stuff.
It didn't actually send anything into space. It went as far as the ionosphere, curved, and came back down again.
But how do you know that?
How do you say something like that?
You haven't got any evidence of any of this.
How far up is the ionosphere?
Sorry, you can see it plainly on the video that it's green.
No.
How high up is the ionosphere?
Oh, 500, maybe 500,000 feet.
But I don't even know either. But my point is, you don't even know what you're talking about.
So space exists according to you, Natty, Voyager. That's low Earth orbit. That's where the space station is.
Well, yeah, it's not much higher than that.
So this is what I was saying on many episodes ago, is if you guys can disprove orbital mechanics, you disprove that a mass cannot orbit another mass, which means that space is fake.
I don't know what space is. I've never seen it.
Of course you haven't. Does it mean it's fake?
I want to know why Code thinks that.
I got some evidence I'd like to present real quick. It won't take very long, if you guys don't mind. But
whilst he's racking up his screen, I'd like to know why Josh thinks that flat earthers would show any interest in this SpaceX. We all dismissed it a long time ago.
SpaceX.
Do you mind if I
just
real quick?
Can I just say this to
Can you guys just compete a couple of minutes?
SpaceX and the space station has to be fake because if space exists, the flat Earth doesn't exist, and that's just what I said about orbital mechanics.
Okay, can you just compete a couple of minutes just
Over
to
to you.
present?
I'll be real quick, like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, so earlier on the show, Nathan was saying that flat earthers, believe the horizon is the vanishing point, and that if the observer increases in height, the vanishing point changes. Now, I disagree with this. I don't think the vanishing point should change if the observer increases in height. And I went quickly, I Googled, I tried to find some evidence to support my assertion here. And I got this little video. I'm just going to play like 5 seconds of it, and then I'm done.
That is like worm's eye view, the horizon or taller. That is like a view from a plane. You can see in the background here, the horizon line is not necessarily going lower on the page. Here's your page, and you're getting higher and higher and higher, and the horizon is changing. So if you're getting tall,
that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. I just put my mouse pointer on the horizon line as he rose and lowered the image, and the horizon didn't move off my mouse pointer. Just wanted to make you aware of that.
Nathan, have you ever actually tested that in a plane? No?
Sorry, I just want to get an acknowledgement from Pete about what I just said to him. So, Pete, he did his demonstration, and I put my mouse pointer on the horizon. It's still there. It hasn't moved off the horizon as he raised and lowered. Would you like to play the same clip again?
That was the point, because I don't think that the vanishing point changes when you increase and decrease your.
So the horizon rising to eye level along with the altitude of the camera is categorically something that Metabunk disagree with. They claim as you rise, you have to point your camera down towards the horizon. What this demonstration has just unequivocally shown, although it being in a 3D graphics program, the horizon did indeed rise as the camera rose.
No, you got to point your camera down by less than a couple of degrees.
I haven't quite finished, Jazz. Sorry. What I was going to say was the vanishing point, in terms of what we see. Look, where it vanishes is these buildings. As he goes and rises above them, he can see further. What a shock! Completely consistent with what I said.
You guys are actually wrong. It's about 3 degrees at cruising altitude in a plane, and you guys should have done this by now. You should have got it.
He can't see further. He can just see behind the. It's
called the virtual horizon.
No, but the horizon line drops.
Yeah, that 3 degrees is consistent, though, isn't it?
That one thing that Flat Earthers say, that the horizon rises to eye level, and I can hear Eric.
Yes, it does. It does. And what you're describing, Josh, is called a virtual horizon. That 3 degrees. Hold on, Pete. That 3 degrees is marked on an attitude indicator. It's consistent. It's called the virtual horizon, and it's consistent. So. Just bear with me, Josh.
No.
What the globe necessitates is as you rise in altitude, the horizon falls. That is necessitated by globe Earth.
And
it is not the case.
It is the case.
No, you have a virtual horizon which is 3 degrees below it, down to the vanishing point, the amount that you can see. Nothing to do with where the horizon is.
No, it does.
And that happens all the way up from 0 degree or from 0 altitude to 11 kilometers altitude. That 3 degrees, you're always 3 degrees below. Is that what you're saying?
No, as you raise, that virtual horizon does come into play. What I'm saying is on a globe, there must be an inverse equation to show how much it increases as you rise. If you rise above the ball, the reason it eventually becomes spherical in your bullshit car video is because as you rise, it becomes more curved. Well, that isn't what we see in reality. You're claiming that there's a 3 degree drop. What I'm saying is it must curve at the edges as you rise, and it doesn't. Ever.
No, it's not like that. It's like that.
Yes, it is like that. That's what a globe is. It's a ball, and as you get higher on the ball, it must become more curved. Until eventually it becomes an entire ball.
Your eye is looking at level, and it's shooting off into space, and you're seeing the Earth you're not seeing the curve side to side. You're seeing it roll away in front of you.
Well, you should. You obviously don't understand the physics and metrics of an Earth 24,900 miles in circumference. You would see curvature from ground level, and it would increase in terms of the amount of left and right curvature that you would see as you increase in altitude. This is a fact. That's what being a ball is. As you go higher, it becomes more ball-shaped.
Wherever you're observing, you're right in the middle.
So you're saying that you can rise up, not see any curvature form below you, but then suddenly you pop out and it's a ball below you. It's nonsense. It must become more curved as you raise, so that when you see your picture of the bullshit ball with a fake spaceman in a fake electric car, you can see a ball below you. In order for it to get from being flat on the horizon to being ball-shaped in the air, you must have a varying degree of curvature appear as you rise. That is a fact. You deny it because that's not what the world presents us with. It presents us with a horizon that never curves and never falls away. The virtual horizon that forms at a very high altitude only drops to 3 degrees. That's what you say, and that is necessitated and used by pilots on their attitude meters.
So does that mean... Okay, so actually after all of that talk, I thought I heard you just accept that, yes, when you are in a plane at 30,000 feet, the horizon is 3 degrees below your 90-degree line of sight. Is that
Yes,
what
it's
you
called
just
the
said?
virtual horizon. However, the left and right curvature that would have to be there because you have risen in altitude is not.
No, Nathan, we're looking out of a window. We've got like a 1 or 2 degree view out of a window of a plane. We see nothing of that.
Yeah, Nathan,
Yes, I
if
know
you
you
use a
see nothing of
360
that. That's my
degree
point.
camera,
That's my point, Josh.
if
You see no
you
curvature from an aeroplane. The fact remains that from the point that you raise in altitude, you must see more curve forming in order for your picture on TV of a ball below a car coming out of a rocket. That has to be the case if the curve increases as you increase in altitude. It can't stay flat when you rise up in an aeroplane and suddenly become curved when you go out with a car into space. That's nonsense.
The curve doesn't increase, the horizon increases.
Yes, I know
from the
what you're
observer.
saying, P.
That's right, because
There's no
wherever
left
you
to
look,
right curve. That's the
away
point.
from-
There must be
That
in
pro-
order
that
for it
proves
to
we live
eventually
on a
turn into
ball.
a ball.
Quick glance left. Oh, quick glance left. You can't trick your eye. Wherever
Because
you're
if it was
looking,
flat, that
that's in
wouldn't
front of you.
That wouldn't happen. If it was flat,
If
that would never
it was a
happen.
ball,
stay the
it would
same.
curve more as you went up. That's how ball works. That's why when you get beyond a certain point, it turns into a complete ball on bullshit SpaceX footage. It's not going to suddenly go from being completely flat from every vantage point you can see to popping into a ball because you've got a SpaceX rocket. It must become more curved as you raise.
So Nathan, do you think that then all the SpaceX stuff that's happened in the last couple of days, all fake? Like even though you haven't watched it, it's going to
Told you, I don't own a TV show. Don't pay attention to that
Everyone that
nonsense.
saw
It's
the rockets,
propaganda.
they're all lying.
I
Everyone
already
that
said,
took photos,
I don't pay
all
attention.
lying.
It's
all
just
fake.
propaganda. Not interested in it. Propaganda. What's on TV? That's of interest to you, not me.
I seen a Russian guy in a hangout. He took a 360-degree camera and he mapped out the curve and mathematically lined up perfectly, consistently with the globe model. So I mean, you can see the curve with the 360-degree camera quite easily.
You want to show us that, P?
I mean, I can't show it to you. It was on a hangout, a Flat Earth hangout that I was on. So I mean, it wasn't my presentation. Someone put a lot of work into it and had it all modeled.
And didn't post it on YouTube.
He said it's
I'm sure he did. I don't know, some Russian guy.
Is there a camera angle from the rocket?
I mean, I would have saved it, but I know that like you guys don't even care about research, so I did.
Well, is there a camera? Is there a camera angle from the rocket's perspective from start to finish?
Can I just ask a question about the sunset that's happening now?
That's no then.
That's a no.
Yeah, I was just asking if there was a camera angle from the
No,
rocket's
don't worry about that, guy.
perspective.
There were heaps of cameras on the thing. Don't even
Yeah,
worry
well,
about that.
I'm asking.
Go,
Is there
go on about
okay,
the
show me
sunset. What have you
that.
seen?
Show me that, please.
You know, can I just ask a quick question about the sunset?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if no one answer me, yeah, sure.
Well, if the sun's 3,000 miles away, and I'm guessing this is pretty close to the equator as the sun's going down pretty quick. If the sun's 3,000 miles away, why can't I see Sydney from Auckland? It's got
Because
nothing
it's
to do
not.
with perspective, nothing to do with the atmosphere. Don't give me
It's
that.
not 3,000 miles
if
away.
the sun's 3,000 miles away.
No, it's not.
Sure. So I can answer
Oh, it's
that.
not 3,000 miles away.
No problem.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's 93 million miles away.
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's not any distance. It's not really there. It's light. It's always on the edge of your vision. It just appears to be roughly 3,000 miles away, but it is not.
oh, okay.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Holy shit. I mean, holy junkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
That's
perfect
why
sense.
why it goes down right into whatever land is up there in the far, far distance. And that's why it always reflects.
Arwen,
You
can
always
you
get
take
the
us-
reflection in whatever, like in the sea here. It's always a straight up reflection like that. And
It's
then it just
amazing.
disappears from view. It just disappears into whatever is there at the horizon. If that's sea or land, it just disappears in there. Because it's
Arwen-
not really an object. It's just an apparent disk.
Okay,
It's an
Arwen, we can't.
optical side effect.
Okay, Arwen, we can't quite see it here, but on on many days anywhere around the world you can see clouds, overcast clouds.
Yeah, clouds are not
cirrocumulus.
holographic. Clouds are just moisture in the air floating
Yeah,
around, catching the light.
I know what clouds are. I
Mhm.
know what clouds are. What I'm asking you is, on any day of the week, anywhere around the world, you can see 8/8 cumulus clouds, which are
Yeah,
low-level clouds,
what is your
8,000
point
feet.
about the clouds? Because I know what clouds are.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, why can anywhere around the world, from any dock, any port in the world, can you see clouds on the surface of the horizon? Does that mean that 5 miles away it's foggy over there?
No, I don't get what your conclusion. What is that supposed to mean?
What he's saying
Well,
now is that as you
if
go
the
further
Earth's
away,
flat
everything goes
and
towards the horizon line.
there's clouds going below the horizon, that would mean that
Yeah,
5-6 miles
you're
away
going to
the
get
clouds are
into
on
the
the ground.
refraction zone again, because that is still there. That's part of
No,
perspective.
that's a bullshit argument. I'm
No,
sorry,
that
bro.
is how it works. That's optics.
It's not how it works.
Yes,
How it
that
works
is how
in
it works.
fantasy
And we've
land.
tried to explain it in detail here. You can just try to avoid it all the time and just
No, but you can't
turn it
prove it.
inside out again. But that is how it works. That is how perspective works. It has a refraction zone, and it creates an apparent slant, and that causes things closer to the surface in the far distance to disappear behind that first slant. And it's just a part of perspective. That's how it works.
Well, that's a different.
Yeah, get over it. It's how it works.
Perspective of how you perspective.
How all things perceive, all things that see, cameras, everything. That's how it works.
No.
Optics.
No, it's not.
Yes. That's how it works.
It's not. It's so not.
They're only quantifiable.
It's called denial, dude. This is how it works.
Dude, you talk about indoctrination.
No swearing.
Was that a swear word to you?
Didn't swear.
Lessons.
I think it was a joke. I think indoctrination was the swear word. Am I right, Arwin?
I was thinking.
I thought I heard something else, but
Oh,
fine.
okay. No worries.
No, you said indoctrination, and I said I didn't say anything, and you said no swearing. So I thought that was a swear word to you.
No, sorry, I misheard it. Thought you said something else. Never mind.
So, are you guys still of the opinion that the Earth can remain flat at every altitude that we can see, but it turns magically into a ball when SpaceX present it? Is that what you guys believe, right?
No, what I'm saying is because it's so big. Earth is not tiny. Earth is not the moon.
It's tiny. 24,900 miles is tiny enough for you to see curvature from ground level increasing as you go up in altitude. That's
and
very
the
small.
moon is a quarter the size,
Yeah,
and you can see the curvature of the moon, but
talking about the
we
Earth.
didn't land on the moon.
Yeah, you don't know how big
obviously.
the moon is. You've never been there. You've never measured it. The Earth, on the other hand, is claimed to be measured at 24,900 miles in circumference, and that ball would
Nathan,
display curvature from left to right at ground level. You would be able to see that
Nathan, you've
increase
never been
as you
to
rise
the
in
co-
height
you've never been
to
to
the
the edge
point
of the
where it
Earth.
turns into a ball on SpaceX footage. There was an in-between between the Earth being flat from ground level and looking like a ball in SpaceX footage. In between those two stages, it has to get gradually more and more curved. But you guys are saying, no, we don't see any curve from the plane, it's too big. But yet it's so small that they can get above it with a domestic rocket paid for by a guy out of his own pocket apparently, and put a car on it, and when he shows it, it's completely spherical. But when we go up, we don't see any of that, right? Is that what you guys think is the case? It never shows any curvature as you rise, but SpaceX can show it.
Two questions, Nathan, just before this image shows. If the Earth was flat, that's not perspective. The sun is disappearing below the horizon. It's not getting smaller and smaller and smaller and disappearing away at a perspective.
No, it doesn't do that. It just goes down.
Why wouldn't it do that?
Because it's not traveling over the flat Earth as a physical object, because it isn't a physical object. It's not a physical object 3,000 miles away, traveling over the flat Earth, and it's not a physical object 93 million miles away. It's
guys
an
need to get your story
apparent
straight.
disk, and it's there at the edge of your vision. That's what it is.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I have been explaining this for 2 years now.
Oh, you have been, but what I'm
Yeah,
saying
I
is
have
you
been,
have to you have to get everyone else on board and get your story straight.
I got my story straight. I know exactly what I'm
You've
saying
got
here.
I'm not saying you don't have your story straight, but every other flat earther has every other opinion
Well,
about
I am not
what's
every
going
other
on.
flat earther. I can't be held accountable for other people's mistakes and assumptions.
So
I've been saying out loud in my own hangouts that the flat Earth movement is risking creating a new form of scientism, where they're basically filling the gaps to get their model right. To prove their model, they have to fill in the gaps, and that's the same thing that happened to the globe. So it's it's risking becoming a same type of scientism, and and it's not
You're
good.
absolutely
We
right in that.
won't find out the truth. We'll just be forced to accept another model, and that's a problem because that model is very likely also incorrect in many aspects.
Arwen, have you ever thought about just the what if you're wrong? What's your backup plan? What's it like? Flat Earthers, like at some point,
My
it's
backup
all
plan
come
is
crashing
that
down for you.
I'll just walk away and stop
Have you
caring
got a
about
thought
it.
in your head that is a what if I'm wrong?
Yeah, my backup plan is hey, if it turns out that I'm wrong, I'll just walk away and go do something else. But yeah, can't find any signs that I am. And especially all the screeching from you Globers and all the ridicule in chat kind of makes it more real to me, proves kind of that I am on the right track because I'm receiving all the flack.
No, well,
Because I'm
that's
getting
not-
really
that's not
yelled
true.
at and
People just sort
people
of like
getting
making
angry
fun
with
of
me
you.
with my crazy ideas. How dare I? So
That's a
I must
good-
be doing something right.
No,
Otherwise,
that's a good,
people would just
making
ignore me, and they don't. They
That's a
don't
good
seem to
point.
ignore me.
The fact that all these Globers give you the time of day just shows that you're credible.
No, that's not right, P. It's funny. It's funny. This is the weirdest glimpse into just the psychotic mind. It's funny.
Can I just?
I'm glad it amuses you.
Could I just?
I know it does.
like-
30
again,
seconds,
just the
whatever you wanna
opinion,
do, you've
and
got
we've
30
all got
seconds.
this opinion.
Mike,
You guys
can
got
I
to move on
interject?
from this Isle of Man nonsense. It's just.
Could I just?
It's fun listening to flat earthers and whatever talk about just their nonsense, but the Isle of Man thing, you guys have said it all so many times.
Josh, could I give my opinions on what the ISS is?
Please do. We all want to hear your saying things.
Basically, this is what I think the ISS is. I think it's an example of quantum levitation from something that is physically up there, and it's flying around a flat plane, exactly the way you see it here.
Really quickly, but I'm so sorry, but just in the first sentence, you said a quantum something. What is that?
You're looking at it on screen. Quantum levitation. It's not touching anything. It's flying on its own steam, and it's basically using quantum levitation to do it. That
How
appears.
is that quantum levitation? Isn't that just magnetics?
I'm not.
Where did we get quantum
Sorry, how do I
levitation
see the
from?
screen?
Isn't it just super cold magnetics?
Oh, that one.
Yeah, super cold.
That's not quantum levitation.
We get
Well, that's
quantum
just magnetics.
levitation from manufacturing gravity of the flat Earth. Where the hell
It's
did
not
that
gravity.
come from?
It's measurable. It has a field that can be measured and that decreases over distance. Gravity doesn't do that, so you can't call it gravity. It is a form of magnetics. It's just.
And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and sharing this show. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.